Hey, Grant Wall here on a United plane in a middle seat. Jurgen Klinsmann has been fired as coach of the U.S. men's national team. I'm told that Bruce Arena is set to take over, and wasn't planning on being on a plane today, but unfortunately my mom is in the hospital unexpectedly, so I'm flying from New York to Phoenix, then going to Tucson. I hope you're doing okay, Mom. But big news, obviously, in the world of U.S. soccer. And the questions are, why now? Well, the timing seemed right. A lot of us had called for Jurgen Klinsmann to be dismissed after not just the historically bad recent results in the qualifiers against Mexico and Costa Rica, but really just a long downward trajectory with a couple of ups, but mostly downs since the end of World Cup 2014. By the way, as you're joining me now, I'm on a plane. I'm in the middle seat. We're about to take off from Newark, but this is big enough news that I'm going to join you live and take a few of your questions. Are you surprised that Klinsmann's out after 5 years? Are you not? I'm not at this point. Reed Davis says I might have been more surprised if he wasn't let go about now. Fair enough. It felt like it could happen. It was probably going to happen after the 4-0 loss the other night, but still, this is a big moment for Sunil Gulati, the U.S. soccer president. He had hitched his wagon to Jurgen Klinsmann and had stuck with him a lot longer than most people, including those folks inside U.S. soccer, wanted him to do. This is an admission, in some ways, of a mistake by Gulati. Klinsmann being fired not just as the coach, but also as the technical director. So the Klinsmann era is done. I apologize for the noise around me here. I'm on a United flight about to take off soon. Bruce Arena set to take over, so let's talk about that a little bit. He was the U.S. coach, obviously, from 1998 to 2006. Took the U.S. to the World Cup quarterfinals in 2002. Didn't go so well in 2006, but he did guide the U.S. through World Cup qualifying twice, including with ease for the 2006 World Cup. And the challenges facing the U.S. and the rest of qualifying here are not going to be new to Bruce Arena. So what kind of changes can we expect? Look for the U.S. to have an identity again, to be a team that's hard to play. The U.S. also played some good soccer at times under Bruce Arena. If you go back to that World Cup in 2002 with John O'Brien, with Claudio Reyna, with Clint Mathis, and all those guys on that team, he built a team in that case. And I think you're going to see more of that now. I think Arena can get more out of the current U.S. players than Klinsmann could. I think he had been tuned out. I don't want to just dance on Jurgen Klinsmann's grave here. This guy had some good moments in his 5 years. He's a good guy. He just needed to go. Got the U.S. out of a very difficult group in World Cup 2014, probably his high water mark. Copa America wasn't bad, took the U.S. to the semifinals, kind of as expected in that case, maybe slightly exceeding expectations, but the downward trend from the end of World Cup 2014 to now, pretty stark. So not surprising at all that Klinsmann is gone. Most coaches probably would have been fired in most countries with the same record much earlier than Klinsmann was. Who else we got here? Sergio Machado. After Arena, assuming he's only fit to finish this cycle, who do you see as the next big thing to be the coach? I would like to see Bruce Arena coach the U.S. from now through World Cup 2018. And then after World Cup 2018, I think there's some good candidates there. Tab Ramos probably at the head of the list, the current U.S. assistant coach. Of all the Americans for that job and that would be in contention for it, Tab Ramos, I think, would be at the top of the list. But there's also guys like Jesse Marsh. There's guys like, it's a long list of people we've seen, from Caleb Porter to Greg Berhalter to others. And so there's going to be a lot of jockeying over the next couple of years. But the most likely scenario now, I think, would involve Bruce Arena for the next 2 years, and then Tab Ramos, most likely to take over after World Cup 2018. He does have the trust of Sunil Gulati. Send your questions in, guys. We got a few more minutes before the cabin door shuts, and we're going to have to take off here. But it's nice to be able to at least have the timing to share this with you now. Thanks to Facebook Live for actually making this even possible. Send in your questions, guys. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Oscar Pareja. Good job, Chris Lynch. He needs to be in the running. I think Oscar Pareja is a guy who has a very good track record with young players, giving them opportunities and trust, and developing them for the professional level. So that's somebody who certainly should be considered as well. I do think Tab Ramos has a pretty good record of that too. If you look at his under-20 national team success, the way his teams have played, I would put my money on Tab Ramos for 2018, but that's just me. Let's see, Brandon Yano, how close do you think Peter Vermees was to getting the job? I don't know if he was that close. I think Bruce Arena has been the guy all along who was most likely to get this job if Jurgen Klinsmann was fired, as he has been now. Over a year ago, Bruce Arena was contacted by Sunil Gulati to see if he'd be interested in this U.S. job. Were there to be a change? There was not. I am told that Sunil Gulati will be speaking to the media tomorrow. It might just be him. It might also be him and Bruce Arena. Gulati is out in L.A. right now. He had a meeting with Jurgen Klinsmann today where he delivered the news that he was relieving him of his duties. I'm told he'll be flying back tonight, but he might try and see Bruce Arena between now and when he leaves L.A. later today. Eduardo Hernandez says Marcelo Bielsa. Love Bielsa. Not a great fit probably in the near term here in the middle of qualifying, but that would certainly be another drastically different option for post-2018, but an interesting one. I do know Ramos has a very good relationship with Bielsa and a lot of respect for him too. Lots of questions coming in here, guys, so I'm glad we're getting to do this. Franz Braun, do they need to make someone else technical director? I think they do. I think that was a mistake to give Jurgen Klinsmann both jobs, technical director and coach, because even he admitted that they were in opposition to each other, those jobs. One was a long-term person, one was more of a short-term results guy. Klinsmann always was a better fit for a long-term role. Not a short-term results guy. I think the Germans would have told you that based on his time at Bayern Munich and as the German national team coach. Let's see what else we got here. Lots of questions here. Ask my seatmates their opinions. Let me bring in my wife here. Celine, what do you think about Jurgen Klinsmann being fired? My wife's not interested in that. She doesn't like soccer very much. So, sorry about that, Celine. She's smiling at me now, though. We're actually traveling with our dogs here, which is interesting since I'm in a middle seat and she's in a window seat in coach. Let's see. What else we got here? Yazan Ahmad, think any players in particular will suffer as a result? This is an interesting one. It's something to keep an eye on here. Sorry about the sound here on this flight, but I do think you'll see fewer German Americans on the U.S. team. I think this is a really sensitive area. One of the things you hear when you talk to players about the current vibe inside the team is that there's several German Americans, not all, who players think don't care very much about the national team. It doesn't bother them very much when they lose. And like Jermaine Jones is not included in that group, but there are some other players who are. And so this gets into a real dicey area because I think you run into trouble if you start complaining about German Americans or any hyphenated Americans on the team. But that's something that's come out from talking to people close to the players on this current team. They want the hyphenated Americans to care more about losing. And besides that, there's other players who just need to start playing better. There needs to be more of an identity on this team, and Bruce Arena knows how to get that. He's a very good man-manager. He's going to bring in some of his guys. I think you'll see more MLS-based players coming in instead of European-based players. Maybe even some who don't have as much individual talent as some of the European-based guys, but they might be better team guys in Arena's opinion. So keep an eye on that January camp, especially now. Let's see what else we got here. Peter McKee, does Benny Feilhaber have a chance? Well, more of a chance than he had under Klinsmann. That's for sure. Kind of skilled player, maybe also like a Lee Win. You might see more opportunities coming their way. Rand Arwadi asks, can Arena bring Donovan back? He could. Certainly has a good idea of where Donovan is right now. Like I said, better chance of him coming back than there was under Klinsmann. Let's see, guys. Keep them coming here. People laughing that my wife doesn't like soccer. Part of the deal. She's wonderful, though. Jake Fraley, is this the end of Jermaine Jones? Hard to say. Curious to see how that one goes. Very curious to see who Arena, if it ends up being Arena, it looks like it is. He sets a takeover. What kind of changes with some of the kind of automatic starters like Jermaine Jones? Cool. Darlington Nagby asked Tyler McBrearty. Certainly possible, though I think most people would say Darlington Nagby did not have a very good MLS season, but there's still skills there that are fairly rare for the U.S. men's national team. I would like to see him back in. Matt Benninger says, bringing in Feilhaber and pushing out Pulisic would be a huge mistake. Nobody's pushing out Pulisic. Bruce Arena would be a moron not to bring in Christian Pulisic. Paul Ollier, when will the same scrutiny apply to Sunil? Well, look, there's an interesting situation here in that Galati has won the U.S. soccer presidency 3 times now, and probably some more scrutiny on the process of elections there, but there's also a situation where you have a coach who was under deserved scrutiny, a change has been made, and if someone wants to run against Sunil Gulati, they should do that and try and beat him. And that's the best way to get change if that's what you want. Let's see. Damian Graybell, were Klinsmann's comments to Reuters and the New York Times the final nail in the coffin? Maybe. My guess is Sunil Gulati had a pretty good idea several days ago that he was going to make this decision and waited until today for a couple of reasons. Klinsmann had been in Germany the last few days, just came home, and also because Gulati didn't want to make this seem like this was an emotional decision to fire Jurgen Klinsmann. Yes, Michael Cameron, I'm in a middle seat. It's a long story. Middle seat coach. I think also this didn't want to be an emotional, or make it seem like an emotional decision for Gulati. And deep down, of course, it is a sort of personal decision. He put so much of himself into landing Klinsmann after so many years of pursuit in 2011, finally having him for 5 years with a contract through 2018, that this is an admission that this was a mistake. Things had gone wrong, that it was untenable moving forward here. And Jurgen Klinsmann, don't feel too sorry for him. He's going to walk away with a lot of money in a buyout here, crazy amounts of money. And whoever comes in, Bruce Arena, the guy I'm reporting is set to take over, will be making less than that. And that's just the nature of the market. I am curious to see if Klinsmann continues to supposedly get interest in jobs like the England job or other ones that come along. He's got a pretty good life out in Southern California, though, so I'll be interested to see what his next step is. Joseph Lazirowitz, how are your dogs doing? Well, let's look at them underneath my wife's blanket. They're doing okay. Just don't tell the United flight attendant my dogs are on the plane like this. Don't bite me. It's not a secret or anything. Let's see here. Justin Barton, any good 2-cycle World Cup coaches recently? Yogi Löw? There's not many. I mean, the U.S.'s experience now is that second 4-year cycle coaches don't tend to go as well as the first. So I think that's something to think about moving forward if you're the person doing the hiring for U.S. soccer. Ted Mate, any idea what Michael Bradley's role will be on the field under Arena? It seems like Klinsmann broke him. Hard to know. I think Bruce Arena will talk to Michael Bradley about that. Michael Bradley's been the coach on the field and in some ways the unofficial coach overall for a while now. So he'll certainly have thoughts. He's the captain. I expect that to continue under Bruce Arena. And I think Michael clearly feels like he's a withdrawn, sort of deep-lying central midfielder. So that's my guess of what he'll be. I don't know if I see Jermaine Jones playing as much next to Michael Bradley. I could see more of a Sasha Question type situation there under Bruce Arena. There won't be a teleconference with Sunil Gulati until tomorrow. It may be him alone. It may be him and Bruce Arena, depending on if the deal gets finalized tonight. Sunil Gulati flying back to New York tonight from LA, where he met with Jurgen Klinsmann today. One question: how sure are you on Arena? Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Kip Quackenbush, great name. Did he truly lose the locker room? Just from my perspective, from talking to certain players, yes. Players started to tune Klinsmann out this second cycle, and he's not the first coach that's happened to during a second cycle. Eric Vego, do you expect players to come out and speak their minds, or will they close ranks to just move on? My guess is the players just want to move on. We may hear some stories, but probably not too many, I guess. I think this is a decision the players are probably overall pretty happy about. Not all of them, but the prominent players on the team, I would think, are probably pretty happy with this news. So I think we're going to wind this down, guys. I know this is big news. I'm glad we were able to talk a little bit here and answer some of your questions, but I'm also on a plane that's about to take off. So thanks for joining me. Jurgen Klinsmann out as U.S. men's national team coach. Bruce Arena set to take over as soon as tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.